Let's take a look at some information and charts on the basic attention token, BAT, for Brave New Coin. And in order to understand basic attention token, you need to understand that Brave, no relation to Brave New Coin, is a browser similar to Firefox, and according to their own testing, faster than Chrome. They have privacy capabilities, enhanced privacy capabilities relative to other browsers, and they also say that they use 35% less battery. The browser itself is eloquent, fast, useful. I don't use it myself, but I don't see any reason not to. It's a great browser by all accounts. How this works is the user can opt into ads and get paid in the BAT token, and the user can also send BAT tokens to their favorite creators, either via one-time transactions or ongoing continuous payments based on the amount of time they spend viewing the content. So on paper, it's a great idea. It's been around since before the adpocalypse of YouTube and other social media websites. Brave has continued to embrace the crypto solutions for the browser itself. They have a roadmap that includes adding full wallet functionality. They have several swap functionalities here with Gemini. They have a widget with Binance, I believe, as well. It looks like they're going to have an NFT gallery as well. So they're going full bore into the crypto verse. And this is definitely what you want to see from a crypto native browser that understands this stuff. I mean, let's be real here. That's kind of why they exist. They exist on the back of BAT, but also in an effort to make a Firefox clone that's better than Firefox. Does BAT need to exist as an ERC20? Does it need to be its own token? Couldn't they have just used anything else? That's up for debate. I don't think they needed a token, but that's just me. The question now becomes, what is the token worth? How do we figure out what it's worth? Why can't we just use a stable coin? I mean, that's really probably the best question, the best retort for the BAT people is, why can't we just use DAI, USDC, USDT, anything that's already available, right? Especially now where this stuff is more and more mainstream. So if we look at the users on the browser, 30 million active monthly users, 10.6 million active daily users. They have full transparency on where they send purchases or sales of tokens. They sort of subsidize or semi-subsidize onboarding as well as ads. And they list down here active ad campaigns in various countries, in various states even. Very interesting. They go as granular as that. And if we look at the registered content creators, they call them publishers, they've continued to increase over time across all the platforms you'd expect, specifically YouTube and Twitch, where I think video content is where something like BAT thrives, and where Twitch natives, people who use Twitch every day, and as Twitch becomes more and more popular to view content, Facebook Live's another one. But as these platforms become more popular for content, and you see people giving all sorts of denominations of currencies, that's sort of held up by Amazon at the end of the day, the owner of Twitch, it starts to make more and more sense that settlement just happens quicker. Does it need to be BAT? No, it can be anything. It's just that BAT is one of the options available to content creators and publishers now. And if we look at those growth numbers even more, it's over 1 million now across everything. Most of it has been on YouTube. Nice little S-curve of adoption here on Twitch as well. Websites, Twitter, Reddit, Vimeo, GitHub. They had SoundCloud listed here at one point. It looks like that deal never took off, or it just hasn't been initiated yet. But that would be another interesting one to allow users to pay for content or donate for content, very similar to Twitch. So if you look at the on-chain metrics for BAT, the token, you can see here lots of spikes and peaks and troughs in Brave's subsidy payments is what it looks like, and or just paying the content creators basically, those transactions, those BAT transactions. All in all, really the big thing is the trend since October has been rising. It's all a giant mess. You can't really compare it to anything other than low timeframes, but just looking at since October, there's a very clear trend line here. So it makes sense that on top of price speculation, which is definitely happening. There was some sort of increase in organic activity here, and average transaction values up big time since October as well. So lots of bigger transactions relative to smaller transactions. ETH price is obviously a big factor there as well. And price speculation, like I already mentioned, a big factor there as well. Price increase, price appreciation, that sort of thing, a big factor in that. If we look at NVT and active addresses, we'll start with NVT. And again, like Ripple, like Stellar, I want NVT. Everybody wants a metric that works for everything equally. But because these chains, these coins function differently, right? If you've got a company, Brave, sending BAT back and forth all the time, and like Ripple, you've got that escrow issue coming in and out, that's going to affect the on-chain metrics, and it's going to look a lot more rosy than it is. So it's hard to really tease apart how much of this is organic activity, how much of this is price speculation, how much of this is Brave just affecting on-chain metrics, not on purpose. That's just like part of what they do, right? So it's hard to really say, because this looks incredibly bullish for an NVT to fall from 350 to less than 60, really, because it says market cap hasn't priced in the on-chain activity currently happening. So that would be a bullish divergence, really, is another way to read that. Monthly active addresses for BAT have increased significantly since 2018, but they've had definite extremes in highs and lows even since October. And again, you can see the transactions, the subsidy transactions, or the BAT transactions from Brave monthly that are sent or were sent to publishers at the time. So still a mixed bag despite looking bullish since October. Overall, it's just kind of a wash because it hasn't really had a sustained increase over time. Looking at Google Trends for the token, they did reach a new all-time high a few days ago. So to see price where it's at isn't too concerning, considering there's been a clear uptick in people looking into BAT. What is BAT? BAT is one of these things that I can see listed on Robinhood when they eventually increase their crypto holdings. It's sub $1, or was sub $1, right? It's $1.34. But any of this cheap stuff, integer-wise, I think is ripe for listing on Robinhood. So if you want to speculate on that sort of thing, this is one of the coins that I would add to the list as far as has a real world utility, has users, has a purpose. Doesn't really need to exist at the end of the day, but it does, and people use it. So, take that for what you will. Here's Google Trends for the Brave browser, continues to increase. So clearly the browser isn't, it's not just me that thinks the browser is cool and good and useful. It's obviously people are looking into it, searching for it. Downloads are extremely high for this as well. There's probably a high user retainment as far as people who switch to the Brave browser and then continue to use it for things like its crypto functionalities. So if we move on to price, here's the 5200 EMAs on the daily, VPVR, and RSI. So up here it looks rather overbought after slingshotting through its multi-year local highs in January. Just like everything else, most altcoins have gone bonkers since January, so BAT really isn't anything special, and that's something to keep in mind when you're looking at all these charts, maybe individually. This project is amazing, right? When you look at the price, but the reality is everything's really up rather significantly since January. But anyway, it does have mean reversion potential here to 70 cents, which is basically a 50% drawdown. Not any substantial support here on VPVR until about 70 cents. And then ultimately this is the strongest support here at 40 cents just based on the previous highs. But it still looks bullish, it still looks okay. Definitely looks overbought. You're seeing you saw a series of bearish divergences on higher highs in price, so it makes sense. It just needs to cool off a bit here. Here's the cloud since mid last year. And again, since January, it's had this Kumo breakout, and it's just told you to get long, stay long until very recently when the TK cross is starting to cross bearish, which is the sign that if you've been long since January, it's telling you to close that position at this point in time, or will be very shortly. So if you're bullish, you either want to see this not cross, or you want to see a bear cross followed by a bull cross, which tells you to open that long again, open that trade. If you're bearish, you want to see a bearish TK cross here with what looks to be a completion of an head and shoulders here, which is a bearish reversal chart pattern. And BAT isn't alone in charts that look like this. Almost every chart looks like this right now, especially BTC. ETH maybe less so, but BAT isn't really alone on an island here as far as price action is concerned. Everything kind of looks like that. It needs a break. You can't just go up forever. BAT BTC had a massive multi-month bullish divergence into January. Since January, it's basically returned to its previous consolidation zone, another multi-year consolidation zone. I mean, charts like this aren't really for me because it hasn't proven itself in the bullish department. It has massive spikes, all of which have just been sold off. So it's hard to get mega bullish on a chart that looks like this, especially with the VPVR profile to the upside here, tons of resistance. So to me, even though the 5200 cross happened in end of March, the move looks basically done to me as far as the up move, the mean reversion back to the consolidation zone. It's likely to just continue to chop in the 2000 to 3000 sat area kind of indefinitely. That's how I would expect to see it. Just like it chopped around here, tried to break up, failed, chopped around here, tried to break up, failed. It's probably going to chop around again. So I'm not too bullish on that chart. Certainly in the BAT ETH chart had this multi-month head and shoulders, I guess you could call it, multi-shouldered head and shoulders, whatever you want to think of this as, broke a very significant horizontal support in 2020, sold off significantly, had a nice rally, but is back again within those depths of the lows. This may be setting up for an Adam and Eve. It's in a significant volume area, but overall it just doesn't look bullish to me. You've got the 5200 cross as well. So overall, Brave browser, great, amazing. People love it. People use it. BAT, the token, maybe it doesn't need to exist at the end of the day. Stablecoins would be just as effective, most likely. On-chain metrics are weak to mild. Google Trends are strong for both the token and the browser. Trend metrics for the USD pair look like they are ripe for mean reversion. This is what would essentially be a 50% drawdown. The BAT BTC and BAT ETH pairs both look neutral to bearish. So all in all, for me, the BAT token is an avoid in the near term. I'd want to see, just mega lows, another bullish divergence, or mean reversion for me to jump into something like this. Alternatively, if it gets listed on Robinhood, then it's anybody's guess where this could go. This could go to 10, just something stupid. If Doge can go from 0.5 to 60 cents, right? And it wouldn't necessarily be people speculating on Robinhood either. It could just be a catalyst for other people like me saying, oh, it's listed on Robinhood, let's buy it, right? So anyway, that's all for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.